Hi guys, welcome back to FM8tutorials.com. This is part 4, the final part of the special effects sounds feature we've been doing on FM8 this month, and in this final tutorial I'm going to show you how to make that kind of effecty sort of sound I had playing there. So let's start off by creating a new sound in FM8. Set up these operators, so operator F, set the ratio to 2 and keep it as a sine wave, and I'm not going to use a filter for this sound. It's going to route it straight to the output, but just take the volume down to about 50. And then next up, operator E, ratio to 0.5, and I'm going to use a 1 plus 2 plus 3 saw and just route operator E into operator F. Turn it on. At 100. I'm also going to use X operator, which is the noise generator. So we need to move over to this noise generator here and just push the amp up. Push the amp up to 100 and the cutoff to 100. Keep the resonance at 50. Let's just route this noise into F at 87. So operator F is kind of just like sort of carrying the kind of feedbacks of these other two operators really. Sounds a bit better at 65, I think. We're still getting a bit more tone in there. So let's move over to operator D now. Go 0.5 on the ratio. Keep it as a sine wave. And just route D to the output at full volume 100. And feed it back into itself at 14. Operator C next. I'm going to go 0.75 on the ratio. Keep it as a sine wave. And just route this into operator D. About 22. Operator B, take the ratio down to 0.5. I'm going to use a 4 formant for this waveform and just route this, turn it on, route it straight to the output, about same volume as operator F really, about 50. And then finally operator A, ratio of 1.25, keep it as a sine. And it's going to use this to kind of distort operator B a little bit, so turn it on. And route into B at about 26. Let's move to the master section next. And all I want to do really is just make the sound monophonic, take that detune off and just give it a bit of digital sort of bit crushing really. And yeah, let's move over to the envelope section next. Okay, so envelopes A and B we can link together and tempo sync these envelopes, and actually could set up one of these rise loops in here and just edit this really. So turn off operator F for now. So we can hear that rise loop happening. I'm going to make that a bit quicker by pulling this sustain loop back to the 2/8, so, and just put a bit more of a curve in there. Put a bit more of a curved release. And we can move to operator C next. We can actually link operator C and D and tempo sync these. And do a similar thing really. We can just select one of the presets and tweak that. So select the P4 loop, change the end point to, rather than being a 4/8, it can be the 3/8, so, and a bit of a curved sort of sloped kind of decay. So you're getting quite an interesting sort of envelope shape on the sound now. So let's bring operator F and that kind of noise, distorted noise, back into the sound. And to give this a bit more of a kind of interesting sort of shape, let's link both operators F and X, the noise, tempo sync them both, and kind of have the volume of these sort of fade into the sound and then fade out again. So we zoom right out and just pull this kind of envelope right out to this 4 over here, and just pull the sustain down in this point. So, and yeah, let's check the mode to fixed as well, and I just edit the envelope a bit like this. I have these operators, well, the noise is kind of going to fade into the sound as we sustain the note and then just fade back out again, and with the sustain point kept over here at 0 volume, it means as long as it sustains, once that sound's full, once the volume of the sound has fallen again, it's going to stay at 0. So maybe just curve that decay a little bit more. So the noise fades in and then kind of slowly fades out again, and then stays at 0 for as long as we hold on to the key. So, and what we could do here is we could actually modulate this noise to just give it a bit more of an interesting kind of character. So move to the modulation section, in LFO2, let's modulate operator F with LFO2. So we've got an LFO on there now, which is quite a bit more interesting. Key sync this LFO, use a sawtooth waveform for the LFO. Take that velocity scaling off and push the rate up to about 3/4, so around about 86. But what I want to do is this key tracking or key scaling, keep that around halfway. So the higher up the keyboard we play a note, the faster the LFO. So if I play a C4 note, a very sort of fast LFO sound. If I play a C2 note, slower. So it's just quite interesting sort of variation with the sound. Okay, so the final thing really to do with the sound is just to apply some effects. So we can start with a peak EQ. Let's boost some of those lows, bring out some of that kind of low tone in there, and also maybe some of the highs. Add a bit of reverb, push the bright up and the treble up, hit the dry wet and time at halfway. And finally a sight delay, keep the time at 50, you can keep the tap and sync off, feedback around halfway. Everything else can stay the same really, just pull the dry wet down a bit. And we've got a kind of cool sort of effect sound really, just kind of, you know, editing these envelopes, various different envelopes on the different operators to just give us quite a thick sort of multi-layered sort of textured sound really. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I hope you've found it useful. Any questions then please get in touch, and thanks for watching. Alright, cheers, bye.